5 different paintings in one video. For that I've used the MA brushes too, and of course I was testing a lot of the new brushes for the new update. And that's actually how those paintings were created. I was testing around and suddenly something came out of it. That's really not the best approach, but after all I had a lot of fun creating those here. And I think they could be also for you useful to see how something very easy can be created out of nothing. Sometimes it's great to have a reference, but sometimes you can just go and have some fun and create simply out of the mind. Testing around, not everything must be a masterpiece. Let's jump right into it. This first painting, it's a little scenery with a tree, and I've used a textured brush to make a primitive underpainting of leaves for the tree. It's something like blocking in the colors, but just more in a painterly style and not so much like having areas with a solid blocking in of colors. This is too much for a painting. This can maybe work with a, I would say, like an anime style or a character painting, like even Marvel paintings. But for a natural painting, it's much better to create shapes that give already the first impression of your, in this example, tree. After I have made this step, I have painted the tree trunks at areas where it's necessary. So in this painting I didn't start with the trunk, I've started with the areas of all the leaves, and then I've put the trunks in between. That's also a technique known in the traditional painting, to not have mixed the oil colors too much together. And I see often it's working also in digital art. And by the way, it's a real time saver. So why I'm not saying you in this video any brush number of them MA brushes too is I will not confuse you. After the update, the brushes will have a new numbering. Beautiful brushes will be included, but I will also decide which brushes can be removed without hurting the brush pack overall, but to achieve an even greater pack of a much higher quality once again. And that's, by the way, the reason I haven't made so many videos in the last time. I didn't want to confuse you with the numbering of the new MA brushes too. It's a great way I have found out to paint rocks and stones. Use the lasso tool of any app you are using to paint, and then I use a textured brush or even a fan brush to create with the right colors beautiful looking rocks on your painting. I have let it in the video just to show it how I approach this sometimes, but I have finally decided to go for something like foliage in that corner. I love the way the different grass and foliage brushes of the MA brushes give me that beautiful look of nature. And that to achieve in digital art is for me really a dream. Painting without difficulties, just the right things I have in my mind, and it's the most beautiful approach for it. Very next we see here how the new fan brushes react to the canvas. Fan brushes like you know them from traditional painting, and they are so useful for landscape painting. You can paint everything with them, from the grass to the trees, but also the sky and the clouds. I have taken the colors here from the background. It's the Magic Canvas 2 background, and you can see on the left side there is in the background canvas on an easel with a painting on it, and I have taken the colors and I've tried to create something similar to that one. Understand that in art the inspiration is everything, and that's why I always love to create a video like that one. And on this channel I want really to inspire you. Not in every painting I want to achieve the best possible result, but I want to show you more the joy of painting, or give you just an impression what you can create, and please do it much better than me. Back to the painting. I first created a landscape with the colors given here, but then suddenly I had the idea to make it a winter landscape because here was winter, and I've just started to paint snow on the different elements of this picture. What happens when you put snow here? First, it looks just like white. But when you start to paint the shadows in a bluish tone, the painting gets a beautiful touch, and I like it very much on this one here. See also how the layers of a landscape painting are created with the background mountains here. That idea of the river at the front and the little bridges with the tree trunks. I hope this inspires you to do your next painting. Very next, let's take a look on the new amazing palette knife brushes. They will help you to paint and create solid areas or lines, and it's no matter if you are coming from traditional art or digital painting. Painting lines like those on houses or on buildings or even on tree trunks are sometimes difficult. You have to decide which brush to take or how thick or thin the paint has to be. Or is it better to take a palette knife? So having lines looking very good isn't that easy in painting. But I think with these palette knives of the MA brushes 2 especially, this is now very easy. They will help you to paint all those things with confidence, and that's the most beautiful thing I can think of. Let me say this again. They have to be used as normal brushes and not as mixer or smudge brushes. I am switching the texture of the MA Canvas 2 now to a finer texture, which looks better on this painting here, where you can see more details of it. Next, I'm painting the sky with its clouds with a classical coloring of an evening sky with the texture brush of the MA brushes. I'm not switching the brushes too fast. For example, I've used the same brush I've used for the sky also for creating the mountain. Later on, I have fixed the line with a specific brush for it. I will show you also in other videos how to use some brushes which have a specific field of use, and this will also be part of other videos. They will come especially in the time after the release of this update. The update will still take its time. I'm now in a beautiful new project and I have many new great ideas which really I want to implement into this update. Those brushes should really be a gift for everyone using them. Good things take a little time and better things take a little bit more time. I'm trying my very best for a one-person business to handle all the things I have in my mind. Those are often really crazy and big projects, but still I'm happy at the end when everything is done on this to-do list I have, and I know that it's really worth it. Again, in this part of the painting, there are some of the new fan brushes in use. I cannot name them already, but you can see they have a special character for the foliage. I'm creating now the middle area, so where we have a background area where the mountain is painted very softly with the gray tones of the clouds. And now I had suddenly the idea to paint a person on here. Nothing special, just very loose. I'm trying to get the main shapes not by creating the lines, but using the knife to create the shapes of the person. Quickly adding some highlights on the right places, and suddenly we have a new character created for this painting here. This guy takes a little break and is just looking to the horizon, thinking about if I've painted it good or not. What do you think? At the end I've decided to make it a little wider, and here we go. Next painting. I've created absolutely unintentionally something like a jungle forest. I really haven't painted so many jungles before. I think I don't even recommend it to you to paint a jungle. It's very hard with so much foliage to create and shape something out of it. But hey, why not? Try it. I've decided to put here a river in the image to break the landscape a little bit and to have a waterfall at the background. And now I'm shaping new trees, which should give some form in the middle of the landscape painting here. The air has much humidity, and so use a softer color for those trees in the middle to the background area. And the more you go to the background, the softer paint them. Trying now to create a more dramatic sky by adding shadows of thick cloud formations on the left side. So slowly the painting get its shape, and from now on I started also to like the character of it. With a dramatic sky, it's also great to have now some areas at the painting which have a darker tone and some others with more brightness where the sun maybe breaks through the clouds. I'm really happy to be back again on this platform here. I want to focus very much on YouTube. Everything has begun here on YouTube. I have taken a little break. Now I'm back and I'm enjoying it very much. By the way, it's a great idea if you have subscribed to also hit the bell so you will be informed for new videos. And so we will be together on this journey here. With the release of the update for the MA Brushes 2, I will also after that bring out the official new trailer for the MA Brushes 2. And I'm also planning to do again time-lapse videos, but also videos where I will show and present different brushes of the MA Brushes 2. And then finally later this year I am planning to do my very big portrait painting course. This will be absolutely the next highlight. And in autumn there will be the time for the MA watercolors, and I have already started with this set full of beautiful brushes and textures for a highly realistic digital watercolor painting. After filling this place here now with foliage and leaf brushes, I've put some last highlights with the Dodge brush to it, and I'm quite happy with the result. Here we have already a river and some mountains at the background. Then I've added the first trees, just the silhouettes, and then later I've blocked in the first colors. For the silhouettes I've used a dark tone, and I'm going from the middle tone values to the more highlighted ones. For that it's always perfect to have that natural feeling of a fan brush. With the fan brushes of the MA brushes, always do the stroke from the left side to the right side. Do this many times, for example on a tree, to fill this space up, and you will get really beautiful natural looking results with it. And use the same technique also for the grass brushes or the foliage brushes. Most of the foliage brushes of the MA brushes are working this way. In this landscape painting, I'm taking now a little time to create the middle ground where you can see two evergreen trees. First, I'm starting with the tree trunk. Don't paint this tree trunk too thick. It's really quite thin and very straight up. This thing is looking really up to the sky. Remember, I am using here fast forward. Please take your time to create all those little things. Enjoy painting, don't rush over it. Here I'm using a little color adjustments. Use the balance tool for it in whatever app you are using. Till you like it, I've added some red and yellow tones. So it looks a little bit like an old painting with a very old varnish on it. And now let's add some volume at the right side. Especially I want to close this space and add something more mystical. Here's a place for some tight trees where it's quite dark and the shadow tones can have their seat on the painting. Again, defining some new shapes and forms. And I'm testing also, of course, different brushes, how they look and how they fit to the landscape. I will explain those things later after the update will come. Many of the brushes of the MA brushes too will be explained by me. I will take focus on different categories of the MA brushes, and on different examples I will present brushes to you with also naming the number. As said, the numbers will change and that's why I have to wait. The painting till now has come from the rough version to the detailed version of it. It's always important to add details at the end. Try not to start too soon with details on single spots. I know it's really nice to test something on different areas, but it's the best to keep that for the right time, else you maybe have to destroy parts of your painting. Now I've worked on some details on the shadow area. Don't go too bright there. At the end I've repainted some of the trees, and you can see I've also used a textured brush on top of the painting to create a very interesting line and canvas effect. In this last little demonstration, I want to show you when you have a landscape like this one and you are asking yourself, what can I do to bring something interesting to it? Little things can bring a nice change to the landscape, something interesting. Most solutions are a river or something like a little hut or a barn. Also great is a pathway. First I'm filling up the details here more and more with leaves, foliage and flowers. And you can see the background evergreen trees. They have also used a special brush. It's included in the MA brushes too. You can use them to paint trees at the middle ground and for the far background, and also for the top of the trees, of course, to paint their edges. Here's now the pathway, and immediately the landscape gets more character. And just use a little shadow in a bluish tone right there where the shadow of the tree is. Looks interesting now. I wish you happy paintings with the MA brushes and see you in the next painting.